that was in '92. Between that that speech in Australia, the speech the next year in London, I decided I was really going to write a meaningful piece on unbundling. And Linda Elrod, if you know who she is the editor of the Family Law Quarterly, a brilliant and very courageous woman who was willing to publish my piece on unbundling. And it still, I think, is the seminal article on unbundling. A lot have followed, but she had the courage to publish it in the Family Law Quarterly. So with that, I don't even know how it became a firestorm all over the country. State legislatures had state bar associations looking to make sure that they weren't preempted by either mediators or non-lawyer providers, saw unbundling as the second coming. Bar associations loved it. Judges loved it because the pro se's would be prepared. And lawyers loved it because it was a chance to get clients where they otherwise wouldn't. All of a sudden, it became important. I saw unbundling, though, as the key to mediation. I think, if anything, it seemed so obvious to me, but it still hasn't caught on everywhere. But I'll tell you where the connection is and what I've been talking about. If many people won't go to mediation because they won't go because they're afraid. They won't go without a lawyer. Lawyers, until the collaborative movement, I must say, were generally not very mediation friendly by training or by experience. If you could find a lawyer willing to unbundle just for the mediation, to prepare a client for mediation, to be there with them if they wanted them, to review, and not be part of the full service package, people could have the protection, they could try mediation, lawyers would get work that otherwise would go away. I considered it a happy ending for everyone. And that has been actually what's been occurring in the last 10 years. So unbundling and mediation have, I think, grown together, and with the collaborative movement, with now an entire population of professionals who see peacemaking and dispute resolution as important, we now have a built-in inventory of mediation-friendly lawyers. I should tell you, my mediation training has never been busier. In 1995, I've always taught a number of places. I started my own little institute. I sometimes had 5 students, sometimes 7, sometimes 11. I would try never to cancel a class. For the last several years, I've been oversubscribed 2 months in advance. There's not a space in that training because in addition to the regular candidates for mediation training, we have collaborative professionals who are now realizing all of the conflict resolution skills they need. With unbundling and mediation beginning to grow, I started to write a number of other articles. The ABA kindly asked me to write their first major book on mediation for the family law section in 1995. And it was called The Complete Guide to Mediation. And it was written, I should tell you, I have an imaginary friend. My imaginary friend is named Marion, androgynous. And Marion sits right here. I hope you can see her, him. And as I'm writing, I keep wondering what Marion would think of various aspects of what I'm writing. And Marion could live in Kansas, could be in Anchorage, could be in a small town in the South, is a person of great heart, but surrounded by a adversarial paradigm and people who don't have his or her passion. And that's who I wrote that book for. It was a combination of, you want to be a lawyer, here are some things you want to do to make peace and to promote mediation. You might want to try to be a mediator, you might try unbundling. It was sort of a potpourri for family lawyers. And much to my surprise, it was a pretty good seller. And it allowed me to actually increase my mediation training. I must say, of all the things, and this is quite interesting, remember I wanted to be a teacher. I'm now a teacher. I'm now a teacher. I can, all my mediation trainings are in my home. We have a closing circle at the end of the trainings where people talk about what it did for their lives. There often isn't a dry eye, including mine, because for people going through a 5-day experience like that, or who make that shift from traditional to collaborative work, many times it's like coming home. Their basic selves come out, why they went to law school, what they really wanted out of their lives. People ask me sometimes, should a law student take a job as a litigator or in the adversarial system in order to get experience as a peacemaker? And my view is first you follow your heart, and second, you develop the skills that can be cumulative. And if in fact, as a baby lawyer, they need some mentoring, I think the peacemaking community can help that. And there's a lot of people who are willing to throw crumbs to a young lawyer who moves to an underserved area and tries to make some help.